Is it legal to sell food from your home in Arkansas? And do I need a cottage food license in Arkansas? Well, in this video from Cottage Foods Laws, we're going to dive into exactly what you need to know in order to sell in Arkansas's cottage food business. If you're looking to create a home-based food business, then this is the video for you. And definitely want to subscribe to our channel because we are all about the home-based food business entrepreneur. We have dozens of other videos here that also help you out. We're going to dive into Arkansas's cottage food laws right now. All right, so welcome back to Cottage Foods Laws. It's Damian Roberti, founder and CEO of Marketing Food Online and Cottage Food Laws. We have a couple of different food entrepreneur channels here on YouTube, so you want to check those links down in the description. We also have a channel dedicated to food truck entrepreneurship, so if you know anybody who wants to launch a food truck business, definitely check that out as well. Now, let's dive into specifically what you can do in Arkansas. It is actually one of the best states in the United States to start a home-based food business from. In 2011, Arkansas introduced a cottage food law. It was actually called Act 72. Which underwent three different rewrites, actually, from what I heard. Yet in 2021, Arkansas has transitioned from their cottage food laws to the Food Freedom Act, making it one of the most progressive food laws in the nation, and actually one of the best, believe it or not. With the Food Freedom Act in place, homemade food sellers can actually market their products in a variety of different places, which is amazing. Actually, in grocery stores, you can sell your product to, retail stores, and you're even permitted to sell and ship them over interstate transactions, meaning from your state to the next, you can actually do business online from your home, which is pretty amazing. Not every state allows you to do that. Now, there's also no sales cap. That's why I put on the thumbnail when you saw $1 million. That is actually true. You can sell $1 million if you can. That's fantastic, and you can sell up to as much as you want. And if you exceed that, well, so be it, because the state and the laws cannot touch anything that you do as far as the sales amount. You can sell as much as you want. So that's fantastic. Let's dive into this. Specifically, we're going to go over things like what type of food you can sell, where specifically you can sell them, give you some ideas on that too, how to market them, how to label them, and everything else in between. All right, so let's start off first. Let's dive into where you can actually sell your products in Arkansas. So under the Food Freedom Act, Arkansas, you can sell them at a variety of state events, not necessarily just farmers markets or on roadside stands and such. You can sell them at different events. If it happens to be a sporting event, a local community event, a church event, you can do that. You can sell them online. And as I mentioned before, the state allows you to do interstate sales, which means you have the capacity to ship and sell them through a website, which is pretty amazing. Definitely want to take a look at that too. Farmers markets, of course. Now, that's a big one, but you want to double check. When you go to farmers market, here's a little pro tip from someone who's experienced it. You want to make sure that you don't have multiple vendors selling very similar items. So if you go to a farmers market, ask the people who are running it or find out who's in charge. Specifically, if you're doing, let's say, a certain type of baked good, or if you're doing trail mixes, or if you're doing certain gluten-free products, that they're not doubling up and allowing more than one person there, because it makes for a little more difficult way to sell your products. Now, other thing is you can sell them to retail stores. So you can produce a product, package it, label it, get it set, and sell it to retail stores, and they turn around and sell it to their customers. Roadside stands are also available as well. You can do it from home. If you're okay with it, if you're comfortable with people coming to your house, you can actually sell it from your home. And have people pick it up. So, for instance, if it happens to be like a specialty cake or maybe some baked goods for an event or a party, if it happens to be some type of popcorn or some snack mix, we're going to go over that in a minute as far as what you can sell. You can also deliver the product if you want, have home pickup, mail order, as I mentioned, even wholesale. The one thing that you can't do just yet, though, which is fine, I guess, you really kind of need a commercial kitchen for, is directly to restaurants. You can't sell pre-made food to restaurants. Also, catering. Catering is something that still is yet to be allowed under Arkansas's law in regards to actually doing it from home. Now, what are some of the foods, Damian? This sounds all great, but what can I make? Because there's some things I want to make and I've heard that I can't. All right, I'm going to go through this list. It is pretty intense list, but keep in mind, too, that everything I'm about to tell you, you can create variations of. So, for instance, like bagels, you can do cupcakes, muffins and biscuits, scones, wedding cakes, pizzelles and donuts and cakes, cookies, macarons, rolls, tortillas, brownies, and breads. Now, remember, all of these can come in so many different variations. Don't think that you're limited because, for instance, cupcakes is one of them. I mean, there's an infinite amount of ways that you can make them. Cake pops are another still popular product for different parties and events. You can do as well wedding cakes. You can do customized wedding cakes. You can do a 3-tiered, 4-tiered, whatever you want to do. Keep in mind, though, that you can create all kinds of variations of this. Now, next up is candies. So if you're into making candies, you can do different nut brittles. You can do buttercream frostings, candies, cotton candies, truffles, lollipops, fudge, chocolate, even confections with alcohol. Obviously, as alcohol is part of the ingredient, you can't sell alcohol with chocolate or confections. It has to be part of the actual product. So keep in mind, all of those too. Another one, fudges, like I mentioned, chocolate and brittles. There is literally an infinite amount of ways that you can make those with different flavor profiles and different ingredients. It's all up to your imagination. And since Arkansas has an unlimited amount of sales, you can sell as much as this as you want. Next up, very popular is condiments like pickles and syrups, salsas and ketchups and vinegars, sauces and mustards. This is a pretty extensive list, to be honest with you. Arkansas has a really amazing cottage food law because many states do not allow sauces. They don't allow salsas or even ketchups and vinegars, believe it or not, or even syrups or pickles. This state does, so you can definitely do that. Now, keep in mind, this list changes from time to time. It might change, but normally it's already been updated in 2021, so I don't see that many changes coming anytime soon. But just do keep in mind that sometimes it does change frequently. Let's see, dry goods, things like cereals, herbs, coffee, beans. So if you want to start a coffee business from home in Arkansas, you can definitely do that. Spices and seasonings, that's also allowed as well. Mixes and dried fruits, teas, pasta noodles. I don't know if I mentioned it, but dried vegetables too. You can do like vegetable chips and things of that sort. Carbonated drinks and fermented drinks. Wow, that's even interesting. I didn't realize you can do that as well. But you got to make sure, though, these fermented foods that have to make sure they're not refrigerated as necessary. So they got to be shelf stable. Next up, things like pastries, like empanadas and tamales, you can. But of course, unfortunately, you can't have meat, though. Meat and cheeses inside them. It would have to be something that cannot necessarily withstand time or temperature sensitivity. Churros, you could do danishes, pies, other pastries as well, and cones. Preserves like fruit butters, marmalades, applesauce, jams and jellies, acidified foods, preserves, and chutneys. Now, next up is a very big one. It's hugely profitable, especially if you're just starting a small side business like this or a small food business from home, or snacks. Things like candied apples, yes. Granola, nuts and seeds. Now, nuts and seeds is a huge, huge market for those. And again, you can roast them and season them however way you choose. Caramel corn, crackers and pretzels, kettle corn and popcorn. These are great throughout the years at different events. And since you can ship these over state lines, you can pop those on your website as well. Chocolate-covered fruit. Fruit leathers are also allowed, marshmallows, and vegetable chips. Now, there is a small list. It is very small, but there are some prohibited items that you can't make in Arkansas. That's actually going to be out of the prohibited list, and that's going to be things like perishable baked goods. So, for instance, like if you do a Danish with cheeses on top, or if you have some type of meat pie, those are things that would be considered no-nos. You can't create also selling oils, low-acid, acidic canned foods, baked goods with alcohol, nut butters, or meat jerkies. Now, meat jerkies and things like that, nut butters are hugely profitable and very, very popular, but you'd have to be in a commercial kitchen in order for that to work. You can't do that. Now, they do have a very small list, like I mentioned, but Arkansas has a really big list of what you can make. So with that list, though, being so extensive, there's quite a few things that you can choose from in order for you to do it. Now, let's go over a couple limitations. There are a couple. Obviously, number one, you can't use commercial kitchen equipment inside your property. So that means like you can't turn your kitchen inside your house using commercial mixers, commercial ovens, or with exhaust fans and that type of thing. Commercial stainless steel tables, anything that you would see in a restaurant kitchen, that is not prohibited. Also, you have to make sure that you're doing this at your primary residency. So don't take this stuff over to your grandmother's house or your aunt and uncle's house, and that's not part of where you do it from, and then start making products there and then selling it. You want to stick to the house that you're at, the one that is designated specifically for your home-based food business. All right, so let's go over the labeling now. There are some specifics, though, that Arkansas does require for labeling. Number one, you need to have the business address. That is going to be your home. You cannot use a P.O. box. You cannot use any other type of address. Like I said before, another family member's house, you cannot put their address on because you don't want your address on there. People want to know exactly where it comes from. So you do have to put your business address, which is your home. Now, your business name. Now, that is not the name of the product. That is not product name. We'll get to that in a minute. The business name itself would be something like Sarah's Cookie Company or Sarah's Chocolate Company. That's the name of the business itself. So make sure you distinguish the two of those on your label. The date it was produced. So this is something unique. A lot of states do not require this, but Arkansas does, and that's fine because it's really not a big deal. The day that you make the product, it needs to say produced on, let's say, October 5th, 2023, that type of thing. So make sure that the date produced is on there. Ingredients, from most used to least. Keep that in mind. So if you're making, let's say, chocolate chip cookies, okay, most of the time flour and that type of thing would be coming first, and then all the way down through the chocolate chips, and then the eggs, the butter, and the sugar, etc. So keep in mind the ingredients are from most to least. Next up is a phone number. You have to have a phone number on there where they can reach the person who produced it. Again, this is one unique item on a label that Arkansas requires that most other states do not. So have your phone number. Product name. Now, this, like I said before, is not the product or the company name. This is the product name. So like back to what we said, if they were chocolate chip cookies, then it has to say chocolate chip cookies, sugar cookies, or if it's a cupcake, chocolate cupcake with frosting, that's what it has to say on the label, okay? And then finally, a statement. You got to put a statement on there, something to the effect that, the product was produced in a home or residence that is exempt from state licensing and that type of inspections from the state and such, and that product may contain allergens. Now, you could put a list of allergens on there if you want. That's what the FDA requires for labels that are being mass-produced and commercially made products, but the FDA does not regulate cottage food laws, the states do. And they require you to definitely have a statement that says, hey, I just made this at home. This is not made in a commercial kitchen. So that is a quick rundown of Arkansas's cottage food laws, of what you can make, where you can sell it, and a good understanding of how to get up and running. Now, if you want to subscribe to this channel, definitely do that. Check out, look at Marketing Food Online, which is 1,000+ videos we have is there. Also, for a lot of the videos we offer, there are home-based businesses as well, giving you some great advice. There's also 130,000 subscribers on that, so it's a big channel. Definitely take a look at that. If this was helpful, give us a big thumbs up and share this with someone. If you know anyone who is looking to create a home-based food business, we appreciate the additional subscribers. We'll see you guys on our next video.